When I was but a wee child, I developed a very irrational fear of mushrooms. But was it irrational? Because I believe that this was a premonition. This all began when I was watching an episode of the preschool cartoon Miss Spider's Sunny Patch Friends, and arguably an age too old to be watching the show, but I digress. In this particular episode, one of the spider friends eats a mushroom, and then turns into a mushroom, which sparked two long-lasting irrational fears, one of them being mushrooms, obviously. Although, to be fair, mushrooms are just inherently terrifying. Like, what is without that gray stuff underneath? And secondly, it sparked the fear of transformation, which is ironic, because I turned out to be transgender, but that's not the point. So I've just avoided eating mushrooms for my entire life. I do think that the toadstools that are red with the white dots are cute until you turn them over, of course. But generally, the mushrooms that you find in Canada... no. Now, if you've taken biology, you might remember that mushrooms are a part of the fungi kingdom. So mushrooms are like a cousin to fungus. Right? Are you with me so far? I'm not sure if I am. I failed biology. I'm just kidding. I actually did really well in biology, which is more concerning because I don't remember a single thing from those classes except for that one time that a classmate texted me, is a whale an arachnid? But what I was getting at is that I'm not an expert. I'm just Quinn. When I was a young teenager, like 14 or so, I was prescribed for the first time in my chronically ill life, but not the last time, with nystatin, which I nicknamed the Nasty because it was nasty. They could have given me a pill, but no, it had to be a liquid that made me gag every morning. What nobody told me was why I was taking nystatin, and it's because I had a candida infection in my stomach, and candida is a fungus. So I was right not to trust anything from the mushroom kingdom. Side note, candida consumes sugar and then produces ethanol, which is a type of alcohol. So I spent ages 13 to 15 just constantly tipsy, which explains a lot. At the age of 16, my foot went purple, and it stayed purple for many weeks. If my coaches noticed, they did not say anything, and I also did not tell my mother because I didn't think anything of it, despite the fact that even the slightest touch would send me jumping towards the ceiling in pain. Eventually, I was brought to the doctor, and I was told that it was some kind of fungal infection, so I was right not to trust anything from the mushroom kingdom. Another side note, apparently my skin does not react to tea tree oil because I was pouring that stuff on directly. Nothing happened. Don't try that at home. And then mold got in my blood. The place I was staying at the time was riddled with it to the point where I had to move out. But it turns out that wasn't even the main source of the issue because apparently swimming pools, like the one I worked at, have mold inside of them. You know, that's actually quite logical, and I'm surprised I didn't come to that conclusion myself. But as someone whose entire life revolves around the pool, this was quite disappointing. Quite devastating, actually. The effects of the mold toxicity got so bad that my doctor made me pee in a cup to see what I was infected with. And turns out quite a few mycotoxins were like off the charts. So I was right not to trust anything from the mushroom kingdom. Yet another side note, I was marked as being quite low in something called a quinolinic acid, and as someone whose name is Quinlan, that was quite funny. I was given nystatin, fluconazole, Candace-in, and a whole bunch of supplements to add to the ones I was already taking, and I don't even know if it actually worked. But you know, at this point, if the fungus survived, I think it deserves to live, because that was a lot. Oh, and now I have ringworm on my arm. So I was right not to trust anything from the mushroom kingdom, so vindication!